Hello everyone, my name is Joji and this is my knitting journal, and today is Thursday, May 30th. As you can see, I have a big lamp over my head, and it's because today is very dark and it's raining. You might hear the rain over my roof, and it's literally the worst day I could pick to record a journal because the light is terribly bad, and I am in between tasks. I just finished doing something and soon my kids will be home from school, so it's literally the worst time. But I have really missed recording my journals and connecting with you in my usual format, chilled at home and showing you everything that I'm working on. And I knew that I needed to get in touch with you all this week to get back to our normal routine of journals. So I thought, who cares if the light is yellow and if you cannot really see the texture of the yarn. I know that I will have fun chatting with all of you and telling you about the things that I've been doing, and hopefully you will have fun too, even if the colors don't show so well. So normally also the things that I talk about you've seen before. It's projects that I've shown before, so I'm confident that it will be good, and hopefully next time I will be able to record during a bright day and it will all look nicer. So it's been a week probably since I last updated my journal, and thank you all for your lovely comments on. If you don't remember the last journal that I uploaded, I enjoyed the company of Vera, Valimaki and Caitlin Hunter. The three of us were working at a Good Yarn retreat in Sarasota, so I convinced them to join me and we did a journal together, and you've all been so wonderful leaving comments and I really appreciate them. As I said, I am very privileged that way, that I get to convince people to be in my journal just like that with no preparation. I can just have them come join me, and I feel very grateful for that. And yes, I'm really excited that you appreciate it. But I have to say that I really miss the intimacy of my journal, just sitting here in my living room, dining room, common space, and just talking to you about what I do. I know that you will ask about my mother though, because I know you enjoy her company most than anyone else's, and I miss her too. My mom is currently in the Netherlands. For those of you who don't know, well, I don't know why you would know, but my sister Letty, she lives in the Netherlands. She established her family there about 10 years ago. So she moved away from home and she's now a Dutch citizen with her family there. So mom travels every year to see her and to see my nephews and my brother-in-law. So she's been there for about 20 days now. She's coming home next week. So I miss chatting with her. I miss catching up. I miss her help because she didn't take any of my knits to knit with her, and I miss having her here in the podcast too. So hopefully next week we will be able to record a journal, or the next or the other week, and yes, so we will have her here in the journal. Oh, sorry, I thought I had my notifications off, but that should do it for now. Anyway, I have so much to share with you. I have so many things finished, and I know that I will forget most of the things that I should share with you. But let's start with the featured patterns of this week. I have two featured patterns. One of them was released before I traveled to Florida, and the other one has just been released about an hour ago. So the first one is the Night Out Cardigan. It's probably a bit wrinkled because it was folded. Let's see, let's button it up. Okay, no. Let's button one more button because otherwise it looks terrible if one of them isn't done. So this is my Night Out Cardigan that I have shown how many times. Probably if I go back in time and I check how many times I have shown this project in the journal, we'll be surprised because probably it was in most of them. I for sure know that I showed it in the first episodes, and then it took me a long time to finish it, and then I gave my testers a very long time to work on it, and it's now finished and published. I'm really sorry that the image here doesn't do justice, but I'm very happy with the photos we took of this cardigan that I included at the beginning of this journal. And yes, I think they turned out really well, and they show better the nice structure and fit of this cardigan. This is my favorite cardigan to the moment, and probably it's because of its color. It's a very dark shade of gray, almost black, and also because it's so very soft. The yarn that I use for this design is called Tind. It's Tynd, and it's by Woolfolk yarn. And yes, I have talked about this yarn so many times before, but perhaps you're a new viewer and you haven't heard of it. So this company, Woolfolk, they are established in Portland, Oregon in the US, and they buy all the wool they use for their products here in Argentina. And then they spin their products, I believe it's in Peru, but their fiber comes from Argentina. It's the softest merino yarn I have ever worked with, and I'm not just saying that because it comes from my country. It is just really the softest product you could find, and it's it doesn't peel. It creates a lovely fuzzy halo. If you see, it's similar to any cashmere. It really feels like cashmere. And yes, I'm very, very pleased with this design. I like, and I mentioned this, I like that the collar and the neckline are high, like a proper crew neck, because I tend to get really cold, and even though I know that perhaps a slightly lower neckline is more flattering on a woman, like let's suppose that I show you a cardigan that has this neckline, or just forcing it a bit, but this neckline or a bit wider, they are more flattering. They make women look a bit more slender, but and I use those necklines a lot, but I tend to get really cold. So that means that normally I have to wear a scarf always when I wear a lower neckline. And I like this sweater because it has the higher neckline. If I get cold, I can just button it up. And if I want it to be a bit more feminine, a bit more delicate, then I can unbutton the top button and then button the rest of the buttons, or just a few. But I like the possibility that this one gives me to button that up and be warm and cozy. I took this sweater with me to Florida, but when I arrived, it was really warm. So everyone was dressed as during the summertime. And then when I got inside the hotels and classrooms, everything was air conditioned, so I was very cold, but the clothes that people were wearing, they didn't go very well with something as woolly and cashmere looking as this. so I didn't wear it a lot, but I'm super in love with this cardigan. I think it's so versatile. Today I'm wearing jeans and a gray t-shirt, as you can see, and then in the photo that I showed at the beginning, I'm wearing a nice dress, so you can wear it on a night out or just for every day. What else can I say about this sweater? The gauge is very tight, so it's very delicate, but it takes a long time to knit. So you have to be prepared for that when you make it. It has a raglan sleeve that I designed very carefully, trying to make it fit even the larger sizes. And it has buttons, and that's it. I think that's it. So this is Night Out, worked in Woolfolk Tind. And then the other pattern that I'm featuring this week, I'm going to leave this on. The other pattern that I'm featuring this week is called Ziggy, and this one didn't take me so long. I've been showing this one. I started this one this year, so that's an excellent time frame for me. I'm usually a very slow designer. So Siggy has been released today. It's a very favorite shawl also. I'm very happy with these two pieces. I took them both to Florida and I was very proud of them. So Siggy is a triangular shawl, classic shape. It was worked using 2 skeins of sock yarn by Olan. It's called Sock Light, the base that I used, and I used 2 skeins in the color Ghost Rider. Oh, excuse me. Oh, that's terrible. But I'm a bit tired today. And yes, it's a beige base with some, probably not the best light, but you get the color. It's beige with some yellow and purple and some brown. And I loved working with this yarn. I wish I had more of it. I really like it. I find the color extremely delicate. I don't know how to explain why I like this color so much. It's just, probably some people would say it's just a beigey with speckles, but I really like this color on me. I'm not usually drawn to lighter colors, but I really like this one. I love the drape of the yarn. The yarn was, I think it was 85% merino, 15% nylon. So it's not a luxury base, but it drapes beautifully, it blocked beautifully. So yeah, I'm really happy. So Siggy has been published today, and you can get the pattern with a 20% off. That's only $4 for the pattern until June the 2nd. And I really hope you like it. I try to price my patterns so that many people can afford them. I know that they are still a big expense for a lot of people, but hopefully with the discount I can make them a bit more affordable during the first days. So that's it for featured patterns. Thank you for checking those out. I can't thank you enough for supporting me and for giving me the chance to work doing what I love and to earn my living doing that. And having said that, what can I tell you about? Maybe works in progress. I'm missing one. Oh, here it is. So I have 3 works in progress. I have some finished objects here to show you, and some of them are not here, but I'll tell you about them. So the first work in progress, probably I should have finish the stitches on this needle to show you better. Okay, give me just 1 sec. Just one more stitch. The first work in progress is a pair of short socks. There you go. There you can see the color a bit better. There you go. There you go. So these are just shorty socks. They are just a cuff, and then I started the heel already, and now I'm making a lace pattern over the front stitches and then stockinette stitch over the base stitches. So what happened? I have another finished object to show you. So I usually have a very easy work in progress, a small project, an easy work in progress with me, and sometimes I work on more complicated designs, and then I pick up my easy work in progress whenever I have to move on to the next section of the sweater and I'm watching TV and I don't want to think about things immediately. And this past 2 weeks, Charlie and I have been watching Game of Thrones. We had watched the first 5 seasons as they came out, and then we didn't watch the 6th and the 7th seasons, so I don't remember why. Something happened and we were a bit behind, and we really wanted to get back to it. So we started watching again season 3 so that we would remember all the families and stuff, and we've been watching that all the time, all day, while we work. Both of us are working and watching Game of Thrones at the same time. And suddenly I finished all my works in progress and I didn't have any small portable project to have on me while I'm just lying in bed watching Game of Thrones. So I decided to cast on a pair of socks, but I only had a leftover ball of this yarn. Don't remember the colorway, but this is sock yarn by Vivid Yarns, and I used the rest of it for my Slow Curves shawl last year. And I had about 70 grams left over, so I decided to do a short pair of socks. And I'm really liking them. They are really quick to make. I started this last night while watching the last episode, and I very quickly moved on, and I think they're going to become a new design because I'm really happy with the way they are turning out. I use short socks a lot. I also use longer socks, but I use short socks a lot, so I think I'm going to... Sorry, something happened and I had to, my computer stopped recording. Anyway, I think I'm going to make this a pattern. Next time I'll show you again. I probably won't have them finished yet, so you can see how lovely the color is, but it's basically white with turquoise, blue and fuchsia speckles by Vivid Yarns. So this is one of my works in progress. I'm using Haya's 2.25 sock needles. I get asked a lot which are my favorite needles. I prefer Haya's. I know a more popular opinion are the Chayagus, but those are just too sharp for me. So I prefer the Haya's, and they come with this clear cord. The work in progress that I was talking about, that I said I'm going to show you a finished object, I'm going to do a bit of finished object and work in progress, is the hat. I finished my iris hat that I showed last week when I was recording with Caitlin and Vera, and this was my carry around easy project, like mindless, but mostly it's something portable, knitted in the round that I can just put in my bag and carry with me. And I finished this, and now I had to find another portable project. That's why I started the socks. Anyway, about this hat. Guys, I'm in love with my new hat. It's big, it's very, very ribbed, and it fits a lot of head. I have a big head, especially for a woman. I have a very, very big woman's head, and this hat is big enough for my head, and it's so soft. It's so soft. The yarn that I'm using, that I told you last week, is Alpaca Silk Blend. I bought this at Tess Designer Yarns when we visited their shop in Portland, Maine. And I used two full skeins of DK weight yarn. The pattern is written for a mix of a fingering weight and a mohair and a thread of mohair, but I really wanted to use my alpaca, and I really wanted just a black ribbed big hat that is very warm, and I think I nailed it. So let's see how my hair looks after that. So sorry, I have a fringe situation. So I used two skeins of the alpaca silk blend. The pattern is called Iris, and it's by Sari Nordlund. It's a paid-for pattern on Ravelry, and I was very happy to pay for this, especially because it told me to, I didn't think it was going to be knit that way, but the pattern tells you to start from the top down, so it shows you, it directs you to a tutorial on how to start this with this ring on top, and then you start doing your increases to create the hat. And I really like it. Would I make it again? Probably no way, because I have to tell you, this was one of the most boring things because it's a ribbed black hat. I think I did it because most of the time that I invested on this hat I was traveling, so I needed something that was mindless, that I didn't have to think about. But to be honest, it was quite boring, and at some point I thought, oh gosh, I will never finish this hat. But I did it, I managed. And I know, you know, everyone needs a ribbed hat. I know it's not a big deal, but I'm very slow and I get bored. So it took me a while to finish, but it's my favorite hat. I'm surrounded by my favorite things today. My favorite cardigan, my new favorite shawl, my new favorite hat, favorite everything. I'm so fortunate that I always like what I'm making. The other work in progress that I'm still working on, you also have seen this before, is my blanket. And I've been working on this a lot. This is the blanket that I'm making using all of my gray, black, and neutral toned leftovers. I am triple stranding my yarn, and I'm using 6.5 millimeter needles. And I was going to do 2 pieces of this blanket and then sew them together. And the way that I was going to sew them, I was going to make these sections a bit longer than this, and I was going to sew them along this long side, but I am not sure now because they turned out to be wider than I thought. So I'm thinking that perhaps this is going to be the length of my blanket, and then I'm going to sew them so the seam is going to be horizontal. Or maybe it's going to be a square. I don't know. I just know that I'm going to make another piece with the same width and the same length, and I'm going to sew them, and then I'm going to decide if I want to add another piece or not. I'm probably going to finish this blanket by adding fringe all around it, like the original sample had. I don't know if you watched the episode where Mom and I talk about the inspiration for these blankets. We made 2 similar blankets a long time ago, thinking of my dad. So those inspiration blankets have fringe that, and actually the fringe kind of makes the whole blanket look more cozy and brings it together even more. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I already started the second section of my blanket. Same amount of stitches, 96 stitches over 6.5 millimeter needles and 3 strands of leftover fingering weight yarn. And I still have a lot of them. And I'm not even trying. I'm sure that if I go to my leftover bins, I have much more than this in gray tones. So very happy with this. It's very cold here. It's really cold for me at least. So at home we use a lot of blankets because we all like to cuddle in the couches and watch TV, and just we're a very serene family. We are usually very chill, and we just like to be in the couch and watch TV and read and drink coffee. And my boys, maybe they play with their iPads, but they all really like to snuggle, and we use our blankets a lot. So that's my second work in progress. My third work in progress is a shawl that I have just started. So this is a new design also. This is how my shawls look. At the beginning, this is going to be a crescent. It's not going to be a triangle, but I'm using straight needles, so it's going to look like a triangle for a long time. I am using yarns made by my friend Ale, whose company is called PURA HILADOS. PURA HILADOS. And I'm using these 3 skeins. And this is a new base from her that I showed already. It's an Angora Merino mix in a DK weight. It's amazing. It's really gorgeous. Super soft, super easy to knit with, and it's really delicious to see how it gets fluffy and it looks like a little bunny. Angora is a controversial fiber in some places of the world. In Argentina, Angora is ethically produced. We have Angora rabbit farms in the province of Entre Rios, and they just really harvest the bunny hair like they would with sheep. So I'm really happy that this is also 100% Argentine-made product. It was designed by my friend. So she sourced the Angora, the Merino, and she had this custom spun. And it gets so much softer when you knit with it, so much softer. So I have been thinking of improving or expanding my portfolio of techniques And one night that I was in Florida in this retreat, I met a designer who was from Florida, and she's called Barbara Benson, and she specializes in designs that use mosaic knitting. So we were talking about it, and I told her that I was interested in this technique because it's a way of doing color work that it's a bit easy, because with mosaic knitting you basically, but technically you work with just one color per row. You don't carry two colors at the same time. So I was interested in using this technique for a design. And she encouraged me to try. So I came home and I've been thinking about adding mosaic to one of my designs, and I decided that less colors. One of the things that I don't like about mosaic is that sometimes it looks very graphic, and sometimes it's too bold. And I think that that's because designers use contrasting colors on purpose so that you can see the color work, but it's not as sophisticated as Fair Isle or stranded knitting, or it's not as sophisticated looking as stranded knitting. So when I see it in two very shockingly contrasting colors, I find it a bit intimidating. So I thought that using these colors that I have for Kani, for PURA HILADOS, was a better idea to start with, and see if I like the technique, if I feel comfortable designing with it and wearing it and using it for my designs. So I made a swatch. This swatch, I don't know if you can see how gorgeous this Angora is. It is the best. Well, the light lets you see the fuzziness, and then if you want to see the color, perhaps my hand helps you see the color. So for my swatch, I used these two colors. There you can see them. There you can see them better. So what I did is I picked this mosaic design that looks like a diamond from this book, in case you're interested in reading about mosaic knitting. I have the third Treasury of Knitting Patterns by Barbara Walker. This is the designer who inspired me to go check it out. And she is Tumped Duck on Instagram. So go check out her designs. She was wearing this, I think, and it was gorgeous. You cannot see, but it has mosaic from blue to orange. And what else? Yes, so I picked up this book and I used this design to practice my mosaic knitting, but the book pictures it in garter stitch, and I did both. I did a stockinette stitch version and the garter stitch version. You can see the difference there, and when you get farther you can really see the graphic lines when you get far away from the swatch, but if I show it to you like that, you cannot really see the mosaic. You have to go a bit further. So, thoughts about this swatch. I think I'm going to go with the bottom, with the stockinette stitch, because the garter stitch just looks too knobbly. Is that a word? It doesn't really look like a graphic design when you look at it closely, which is also nice now that I think about it. I don't know, I'm torn. I don't know whether to do this or whether to do this. They're both quite elastic. My problem with the stockinette stitch was that this is blocked. Before blocking my swatch, my gauge was uneven. My tension was uneven, but now it looks very good. And what else? I don't know. Probably the garter stitch takes smaller vertical space, smaller vertical space than the stockinette stitch, because I did more rows of the garter stitch than I did of the stockinette, and the stockinette looks taller than the garter. And probably I'm not going to use the diamonds, but I'm going to do just the zigzag in my shawl. So we'll see. I did a poll on Instagram yesterday, and oh no, it's an old one. I won't see the results, but about 2/3 of the people prefer the stockinette stitch over the garter stitch. So I might just go with the stockinette stitch, but I'm concerned that the rest of the shawl is going to be garter, so I'm concerned that the difference between these two textures is going to be too much. But I think it's going to be great. I'm just rambling about my design process. Anyway, it's going to be a crescent. I started with this color, with the medium, and I will slowly use the three of them combined. It's not going to be a gradient or anything, and I know that colors are going to blend together, but I'm fine with that because I'm looking for something without contrast so that it doesn't look so striking. Yeah, so that's my third and last work in progress at the moment. I have swatched another project, but I'm still waiting for that swatch to dry, and so I cannot show you anything, but I will be using most probably all of these yarns. So let's see what I have here. Sorry about the mess. Okay, so the base yarn of, I'm going to make a sweater, probably a cardigan, and the main yarn is going to be this yarn, and this is a really interesting yarn. It was a gift that I received when I went to Florida by Not House Yarns, and she was my student. The mother of the dyer was my student, and she brought to me a beautiful array of yarn, and I really like it. It's all the same base, but I had never seen this base before. So this is called Not House Yarns, is their signature yarn, and it's called Diamond Sock. And I know probably many of you already saw this, but this is a new to me base. This is 20% mohair, 50% superfine merino, 25% nylon, and it's applied yarn. So it's a mohair blend of applied yarn. Beautiful, really lovely to work with, and it's hairy and fuzzy. So that's going to be the base color of my new design. It was a coincidence that they gifted me that, and I thought it was the perfect for my idea. Then I'm going to use Mohair. This is by Vivid Yarns. It's a strange combination of Vivid Yarns and La Bien-Aimée, my contrasting colors. So this is the Mohair by Vivid Yarns. It's 72% kid mohair, 28% silk, and the colorway is called Mad Love by Vivid Yarn. She's a dyer friend of mine who lives in Canada. And I am stranding this together with this crazy bright beautiful skein of La Bien-Aimée. This color is called okay, it's La Bien-Aimée Merino Singles, and the color is Flashy Lipstick. Flashy Lipstick. There you go. La Bien-Aimée Merino Singles. So I'm holding those two together like that, and then I'm also using Vivid, the same dyer as the Mohair, but this is her soft base. This is signature fingering in the colorway Swan, 75% merino, 25% nylon. Swan. And I am holding that together with this Mohair by La Bien-Aimée, and this colorway is Rose Quartz. This is her Mohair silk in Rose Quartz. So all of that, the Knot House yarns, Dimond yarn, La Bien-Aimée Mohair, La Bien-Aimée Singles, Vivid Mohair, and Vivid Sock should be part of a new sweater design that I'll start as soon as my swatch dries and stops lying to me. And what else? What other news? Important, I have published a Spanish translation of my pattern Chulis Wrap. It's the first translation that I made of one of my patterns. I don't translate my patterns. I know that doesn't make them very accessible for people who don't read English. Probably these people are not watching this podcast in English anyway, but my reason is not only the time that it takes for a translation to be made, but also there's really no way that I can control the quality of that translation. I have to tell you the truth. That pattern that came out in Spanish was translated by two different people, and I wasn't 100% satisfied with the initial projects that they showed me, and then we worked together to improve them. We modified them quite a lot after we translated them. So the version that I put out is not just a translation, but something that has been very controlled by me, a native Spanish speaker, which also led me to think, what about, if I ever translated my patterns to a language that I can't control, that I don't understand, would I be comfortable with those translations? Would those translations actually reflect the way I think, the way I write, the way I structure my instructions, the way I like to lay my patterns out? That is something that I think about a lot. I don't just write my instructions. I try to really describe a process of knitting when I write a pattern. So I don't know if I will be able to fully let go and allow someone to just translate my patterns and trust that they will write them as I would in that language. I don't know, but I know that during the past couple of years the pressure to publish my patterns in Spanish has been increasing a lot, and I don't have a really good excuse not to do it in my mother language. I can't really control what happens. I can make sure that those are written in the way that I would write them. So I decided to take the plunge this year and go for it. and hope for the best. I don't know what's going to happen, how many or how often I'll be able to translate, but Julie's Wrap is now available in Spanish, and if you'd like to take a look, if you like Spanish, then you can find it in your Ravelry libraries as part of the initial pattern. Then I have a couple of other finished objects to show you. The first of them is my Hipster Cowl that I have been working on, and I showed you, I think, right before going to Portland, Maine, or right after Portland, Maine, before Florida. It's now finished. I love it, love it, love it. It's big, it's cozy, it's really nice. Just as the shawl. Oh goodness, I think this is probably my favorite. This is probably my favorite winter item, and I'm going to wear it every day together with my new ribbed hat, and I'll be the most hipster knitter ever, if that is something that interests you. But I'm really happy with the result. I haven't test knitted yet, but I'm going to send it out to test knitters tomorrow, hopefully. This was made out of the same yarn I used for the Hipster Shawl. So this is Myak Medium, baby Myak Medium weight. It's a worsted weight. I use 5 skeins, and I use US 8 or 5 millimeter needles. First I used 4, but then when I finished it and I tried it on, I decided that it needed a bit more volume. So I undid my seam and I added another skein, and I think now it's perfect. It's substantial and warm. So that's my Hipster Cowl. I hope you guys like it and are excited about it as I am. I'm really looking forward to publishing that. And the other finished object that I have is my super simple summer sweater that I showed you last time when I recorded together with Vera. Now you can see it's a round yoke with long sleeves, and it's slightly cropped, but not really cropped. It's not really cropped. It looks cropped because it's a bit boxy, but it's not really cropped. You can see the fit there. I use Mungo by Rosa Pomar. This is a Portuguese yarn that is a blend of cotton and wool, and it comes from mill waste, so it's like a repurposed fiber, which makes it amazing. I cannot say enough good things about this yarn. I would really like to get some more of it. I'm just trying not to let my stash grow any further. Who am I kidding? I don't really mind if it gets bigger. I love my yarn. I really do. So those are my 2 finished objects for today, and hopefully they will become new patterns soon in the future. And I have some acquisitions, some gifts, and 1 purchase. So the first gift is a very special one, and it was made for me by Terry. Terry is the owner of a yarn store in Canada called Feather Your Nest, and she heard that I had lost my Odyssey shawl in Italy, and she made one for me. She made this amazing golden version. You know, this is my color. If I wear color, I wear this color, and it just makes me so happy that Terry thought about me and thought about what color would suit me, what color I'd wear the most. And I think she told me what yarn she used, but I don't remember. I just know that it's something very silky. I'm sure it has a lot of silk in it. It's very luxurious. It's golden and it has some red speckles that you can see here and there. And it's just glorious. So thank you so much, Terry. I don't deserve so much loveliness from all of you, but I truly appreciate it. And yes, then I already showed you this Knot House Yarns Dimond yarn that I was given. She gave me a few colors that I'm very excited to have with me. I think that this yarn has to be great for socks because mohair and nylon, it really looks like the perfect sock yarn, not just for sweaters. Then, oh, sorry, I hope you don't think that's rude. I don't know what's wrong with me. I cannot stop yawning. Then I received the most gorgeous package of yarn from Magpie Fibers. I had received a pack with samples when I was in Portland, and Damie asked me which one I liked the most, and the one I liked the most was this one. So then I asked her to send me a bit more of it. This I like because I don't have anything like this in my stash, so I like to have yarns that are different. This is called Solstice Decay, and it's 50% domestic superwash merino, 25% domestic cotton, domestic meaning the US, 25% silk. So it's merino, cotton and silk, and it has this nubbly texture. It feels warm and cool at the same time because of the content of cotton and silk, and it's a decay weight. So she sent me several of her colors. I picked these together to show you today, which I think they look really cool. This is Ash. This is Velvet Underground. This purple shows the texture very nicely. And this mustard is Strange Brew. So this is Solstice Decay by Magpie, and I want to use it for a design real quick. I forgot something that I also want to show you. Where is it? Here. Then I also ordered some linen from Espace Tricot. They were so kind to send it to me. And when I visited their store in Montreal, I saw that they had this linen yarn, but they were out of the black color, which is the color that I really liked. This is 100% linen, 100 grams, 250 yards. It looks like a sport weight, even though it's heavy. And it says made in Latvia, Lithuania. So this is super cool yarn made by the Espace Tricot ladies, or sold by the Espace Tricot ladies. I have 4 skeins of this, and I plan to make a black linen boxy top. And I should get to work on that right now before the summer, where all of you are, ends. It's really cold here. Have I mentioned that? I'm very cold. Then I also brought home a lot of shibui yarns because shibui had their representative at Florida where I was working. I am also friends with her, so since she knew that I probably wouldn't be traveling so much now, she was very kind to bring some of their yarns for me to bring home. So I have a ton of shibui that I won't show you so that I won't overwhelm you, but I wanted to share with you this new base they have. It's their, all of these I asked especially, so I only brought home the things that I really wanted to bring home. This is called Vine, and when I read the materials, you'll think it's strange, but I saw a sample in Florida made out of this yarn, and it's amazing. It's really, really the best summer yarn. This is 41% paper, 31% cotton, 28% silk. It's paper tape yarn, but it's really, you have to see the finished garment to understand how beautiful this yarn is. So I brought home a bag of this yarn. This color is called Bone, and as you can see, it has like a tape texture with some thread around it. My intention is to work on a summer wrap, because we have all these summer shawls and all these winter shawls and winter cardigans, and then it's always hot here, and in the summer I don't feel like wearing, perhaps I'm cold or cool, but I don't feel like wearing, you know, this, even though I am hot, I am cold. I mean, I want something that looks summery and fresh, so I'm going to design a summer shawl, wrap, stole, or something of this sort, to go probably with my black linen top someday when I have a million hands designing at the same time. Then while I was away in Portland, Maine, I think, my mom received a very special visit, and it was Denise's mother. Denise is the dyer behind Yoshi and Lucy, and her mother, I believe she has family here in Argentina, and I was away, but Denise sent me something with her mom, so I received these 3 skeins from her. My favorite is this one that I already showed. This is called brillante, which means shiny in Spanish, and it's 75% merino, 20% nylon, 5% selena, and it's a sock yarn, and the colorway is called Dark Magic, so it's really cool for socks with the stellina. I'm thinking I will start either knitting or knitting and designing socks, and I'm going to save them for Christmas time to give to some non-knitting friends. We'll see. And lastly, I am forgetting so many things that I was given. I was given so many gifts, honestly. With my heart, I thank you. You didn't need to bring me anything, and you did, and I appreciate it. And I know that I cannot show everything I was given here in the journal, but I hope you know that I cherish it and it means a lot to me. The last thing I wanted to show is some yarn that I bought when I was there at the show, and it's by Copper Corgi. I have also talked about this dyer before. I learned about her last year working at a retreat, and she was vending again. She was doing a pop-up at this retreat, and she had these amazing skeins. with her, and I couldn't resist. I had to bring them home. I don't know what they'll become. Maybe a cowl or some mittens and hat. This is 60% superwash merino, 30% alpaca, 10% silk, and it's her Jones Street worsted. And it's just the most gorgeous deep red you've seen. It's really incredible. I really like it. Let me show you without the gold competing. It's really nice deep red, and I'm so happy that I brought 2 of these home. They are super soft and they are worsted weight. And I think that's it for knitting. I haven't been sewing, but I want to sew. It's just that I don't know if you remember at the beginning of this year I had a really hard time going back to the rhythm of work after going under construction here in the house and Charlie's surgery and really burning out last year really bad. And I'm finally at a place or moment in my career work when I feel I have things under control. I don't have to travel for work anymore, just for fun. I'm going to keep traveling for fun, that's for sure, but not for work anymore. And I don't want to let go of these good vibes regarding my work. I've been inspired to start new things and try new fibers, as you saw. I'm thinking of expanding techniques and materials, and I'm really having fun, enjoying my work, keeping it cool, trying not to overload myself with things. And yeah, I think that if I go back to sewing, it will probably eat a lot of my time, and I will start feeling that work overwhelms me again. So I'm going to keep this rhythm for a bit longer so that I can completely detox from all the traveling, and I might start sewing back in a couple of months. But I haven't given up on sewing, and I know you guys enjoy my sewing segments and my garments, so I will bring it back, I promise. But I have been trying a new hobby this year that you might have seen if you follow me on Instagram and you see my stories. I have been trying pottery. Last year I learned how to sew. This year I'm trying to learn how to make bowls. So I wanted to show you some of the things that I made. I am a person who gives a lot away. I am a giver awayer. So I don't keep a lot of the things that I make, but these 3 bowls were claimed by my family, so they currently live at home. I couldn't give them away. I almost said but I'll keep doing more, maybe we can keep the next ones, maybe we can give this away, but they said no, we really want those to stay at home. So these are my family's favorites. I'm throwing these bowls on the wheel, and what can I tell you? I don't really know the terms for pottery. I go to a workshop where they teach us how to use the turning wheel. It's extremely difficult. I don't find it easy. I find it extremely hard and challenging, and everything hurts. My back hurts, my neck hurts, my lower spine hurts, my arms hurt because I have to put my arm over the basin like this. But I super love it. You've no idea how much I enjoy this activity. This, in case you are interested in knowing how I did it, I don't know, but what I did is I cooked, they fired my is it called greenware, where before they fire it. Anyway, they fired the piece or the bowl without paint, and then I used a toothbrush and paint or ink to do the speckles, and then I dipped it partially like this. There you go, like this, on black glaze, black shiny glaze, but then I dipped everything in another coat of translucid matte glaze. So this is what the matte glaze looks on top of the black. And so this is the bigger, it's not super big, but it's bigger one, the medium one, and the smaller one. I'm very proud of this. It took me like 2 months to make them because I only go there for a couple of hours a week. So first I have to throw the bowl, then I have to remove the, I don't know the terms in English, sorry, but I have to use some utensils to remove the excess and to give it this shape. And then they have to fire it, and then I glaze it, and they have to fire it again. So it took me several weeks to make this. And then this is another kind of thing that I'm working on now. So for the previous ones, I don't do any drawing or painting, but I wanted to try something more decorative for those family members who are more drawn to more decorative pieces. Like my mom probably would like this, but she wouldn't appreciate the minimalism like we do. So I wanted to try something more decorative like this. So for this I'm using cobalt ink, and I'm mixing it with some other pigments. There's a bit of purple in this. So before firing it for the first time, when it's still green, I painted these motifs. There's nothing very fancy about them. I just have fun, and I added one here in the bottom of it. And then once fired, I glazed it with a top coat of matte glaze. And this one, I'm saving it for someone's birthday or whenever I want to give something very special to someone. These pieces take me a very long time, so it's not, they take me longer probably than knitting a pair of socks. So yes, I decided to save the one with the blue motif for someone that I love. And that's everything I have to show you about pottery. I have made some smaller plant pots like this, but I was still learning. There are a lot of things that went wrong with that one. I love them, but I don't think that they are worth being here in the journal. So that's all I wanted to share with you this week. I still owe you an interview that I made with Bristol Ivy and Mary Jane Mucklestone, and I think I'm just going to go ahead and post it as a separate video before next week's journal. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave me your messages. I've been missing you. See you next time. Bye.